chance at fighting for seeding. They need this.
Yeah, they need to get this to get themselves just 8 points behind Team Solo Mid. But Hammers, if they win this one, they will be pushing themselves into a tie for potentially that 4th and 5th spot, depending on how the 3rd place match goes.
All right, let's catch up a bit with this draft because we're getting carried away here. Catherine has been locked in, but Batiste was banned, so no combo. But then we do see Hammers grabbing that comfort pick of the Kestrel.
Yeah, and now Cloud9 can do Fortress Koshka here, honestly, because there's no Grace, there's no, there's no like healer that can like basically help them kite really well. Cap has only 1 stun. She will have Echo Silence and etc. though, but I feel like Fortress Koshka would work really well in this composition, and I think Gabe should definitely get Echo here because if he echoes the wolves after they die and it has another pack of wolves, that's going to basically absorb all of the arrows from Kestrel coming out.
Not only that, but it gives him a 2nd round of fortified health to stay alive that much longer in the fights as well. So yeah, it's going to be the Vox Fortress Koshka, the early game aggression build that Cloud9 loves to run. It's just going to be now, can Hammers figure out something to deal with this in the early game?
That's going to be the big question. So far, the story of this series has been who can control the early game and snowball that to a victory. Neither team able to come back from an early deficit. And Hammers, with that Kestrel going up into a Koshka, you'd expect that they're currently on the defensive, but also Catherine, this is the first time it's come through the draft, so maybe that can affect things.
Yeah, they'll probably pick Samuel here because the Oblivion along with the Silencers, you have to get 2 Crucibles to block that. So Samuel would make the most sense. That's Archaic's comfort pick. He likes playing Samuel. And if Samuel gets to the late game, he's really good into Koshka. They just need to survive the early game here. And I think as long as Cloud9 does not dive into corridors and get baited into those narrow corridors where they lose a lot of fights, they will do fine and win this game. So it's really on that early game and that good decision making there.
Not only that, but typically when the Fortress is jumping onto you with the Wolves, Koshka's going to be right up there with those Wolves, and the Empowered Malice and Verdicts can clean out damage onto Cloud9 while also clearing out the Wolves. So a late game, this is going to be a very strong composition for the side of Hammers. So it's really going to be just about this early game once again.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of Game 1. Cloud9 running, I think, exactly the same composition. Different tacks coming out from Hammers, though, in this one. So we'll see whether they're going to be able to weather out the early game and survive on towards the later stages of the game. But it's time to get on into the final game of our Grand Finals for North America here in the 5th week of the Vainglory 8. And make sure to let us know who you are going to be cheering for. Who do you want to win this week of the Vainglory 8? Let us know on Twitter with the hashtag Vainglory8. But now let's jump on into this game and see who is going to be crowned the Kings of America for Split 2 Week 1.
Thank you very much. Here we go, the penultimate game. Cloud9 versus Hollywood Hammers. This time Joseph is on his Telltale Koshka, but we have starting back on this Kestrel.
Yes, starting all over back on this Kestrel. Has got the crystal bit start again, which is very interesting. Something that he's been doing quite frequently throughout his games. I suppose to give him the extra added burst damage, like we said on the end of the Glimmer Shot. Won't talk about it too much. Gabe Vizzle on the Fortress. Not something that he's had a huge amount of success with as of yet. But it's something that Gabe Vizzle has managed to make work in the past. He's body blocking like crazy. Was that a mistake here from Gabe Vizzle?
Might have just been. Playboy Afro's going to chase him down. Another merciless pursuit will finish him off. But Joseph's taking a whole big chunk out, starting all over. There come the Glimmer Shots who kill traded backwards and forwards. But Joseph actually picks up first blood in that engagement. Playboy Afro, can he find the kill on Joseph? I don't think so. That Twirly Death giving him the movement speed. 1-for-1 trade right now. Starting all over, picking up that kill too.
But he does get the first blood, which is probably the most important part of that trade. And so much farm denied from starting all over in lane here. He did get it pushed to turret. He did lose out on those minions. So actually a pretty good start for C9, Jaws.
Yeah, overall net gain, definitely. And now Archaic is just farming up on this Samuel down here. Just left completely alone. But with Joseph picking up that first blood, like you said, Crystal Bit, he's got a little bit of shielding in his kit now as well. He's going to be able to sustain a little bit more in these early skirmishes against Archaic, who's just gone back himself and picked up a triple Crystal Bit. Always willing to outdo Joseph, it seems.
Joseph now on this Koshka, like we said, something that has allowed him to be aggressive in the early game. They can put pressure on. The mortal wounds from the Fortress is going to be good against the likes of Archaic on this Samuel. They're going to catch him out here as well.
Yeah, Joseph and Gabe Bizzle have smelled out this Samuel, but he is going to be more than safe. In fact, Hollywood Hammers maybe going for a small engage here. Oh, that tree and almost rooted them all up. Here comes Old School. He's going to join the fray. Gabe Bizzle already very low, has to back off. No one can really quite find the finishing blows on him from Hammers, so they're just going to be able to just chase them here. Merciless Pursuit is available, but again, Joseph is very, very slippery on this Koshka. Same with Gabe Bizzle on this Fortress. They want to go for it, though.
They're trying to burst down these backs. Do get stolen away there. One Malice and Verdict will do the job. Now they're going to put pressure on this. Actually, Joseph does get that. That is a big deal here. We'll give him the potential to trade.
Gabe Bizzle's going fairly low, though. It gives them potential to trade, but he hasn't got backup from Fortress. So ends up not having to go in, not going in fairly hard. And now Old School actually going to get pushed into that turret, meaning that once more, Hollywood Hammers actually coming up really big against Cloud9, stealing away so many camps.
Old School's just been steadily farming in lane though, so it's going to give him a small advantage over starting all over. But C9 do have to be careful. Again, they lose this early game jungle hard to the Samuel. He can start to get a lot of pressure out. So 7 CS disadvantage. So every CS advantage that Old School has made up in the lane, Archaic has had that advantage in the jungle. They are going to put pressure onto Playboy here, but he will just pop the Storm Guard and get away.
Yeah, that damage reduction and damage reflection helped him out a fair bit there. And now Cloud9, not on the back foot by any means, but Joseph wants to be off to a flying start here on this Koshka. His ability to engage in these team fights is only going to be heightened with Gabe Bizzle on this Fortress. Like they mentioned on the desk, this is actually a complete same draft we saw Cloud9 play earlier today.
They won't. I mean, they're hopefully going to get more success of it. I understand the idea behind it. The Wolves are going to body block the Glimmer shots. The Wolves will body block the Malice and Verdicts, giving them some crucial time to be able to dive in onto their targets. I do worry about how a silence will affect them in the team fights, but you do imagine that Gabe Bizzle will be up to the task of blocking that fairly readily and easily. Old School will be able to stack up nicely as well once he gets that breaking point. Again, C9, I think, need to start the snowball in the mid game and keep that rolling.
Oh, and it's all about that snowball potential. Have Cloud9 got it in them to not topple Hammers, but take Hammers out of the tournament and take Cloud9? Are they just going to be able to push forward to the victory here? It's very rare we see a team come up against Cloud9 and give them a good run for their money, but Hammers really showing what they're made of this week. I want to see if that's going to be able to continue as well. Their strong performance, if they can just make sure they can do the same against TSM and Cloud9 time and time again, they will be very much undisputed. Whoa, gold. Okay, Bizzle actually almost went down there to another Glimmer shot of starting all over. This pressure on this turret is already surmounting for Hammers. And now Cloud9 trying to make a little play here. Old School fairly far up. Fountains popped actually from both sides. They're going to jump straight on starting all over. Twirly Death will actually finish off the kill there. Joseph almost falling. Same with Playboy Afro, who actually has to use the boots to get away. That Pouncy Fun didn't quite finish his mark.
I mean, I really love what Old School does in these situations. He finds a weak point, he jumps on and exploits it, and then allows I Love Joseph to get the finishing blow down. Never afraid to be aggressive in terms of positioning and plays on this Vox. And this is what I think they need this game. Need to continue to mount that pressure, need to continue to look for engages that are going to allow them to snowball onto global objectives. They want to get a kill, go for goldmine. Get a kill, try and take turret. It needs to be a sequence of events like that. Joseph now level 6, reflex blocks not finished. This could be an opportunity for C9 to find a fight.
Yes, it can. Joseph hasn't finished an Aftershock or anything along those lines, but I can't imagine he's all too worried, especially as he will now see that starting all over and Playboy Afro do not have those, or Archaic for that matter, for those reflex blocks like you just mentioned. He probably just wants to make a play regardless. In fact, I bet he picks up an Aftershock here. He does indeed. Jump on them right now. Just do it. Just run at them. That's all you need to do. Just go for it right at this very second. Reflex blocks finished all around, apart from Archaics. There we go. That small window scoundrel is going completely shut.
Old School and C9, they do have the reflex blocks come out, like you said. Samuel, the only one without ones. He could be a pretty solid target for Joseph if he can get in range, but the accelerator pedal has definitely come off here. C9 have a small gold advantage of about 200, which is next to nothing. It's pittance at this point in time. Item spikes have been hit as well. Joseph has got his item spike. He seems to be waiting patiently for his backs to respawn. It seems to be what his prime directive is right now. Just go and get the backs when they come back up.
No invades here from him and Gabe Vizzle. Not after the early shenanigans that did happen. Gotta wonder to yourself, maybe Cloud9 a little bit scared now of entering the jungle? I mean, Playboy Afro is there with the stuns. Yeah, I mean, Archaic's got Oblivion, which is, you know, a pretty fantastic tool at making sure he can lock down someone like a Koshka. But Cloud9, like you said, really taking the pedal off the metal. Scaredy cat. The best joke I could come up with right now. Hammers, though, undeterred, it seems.
Yeah, and they're going to put pressure. I really want to see C9 start to move on to things like Goldmine, bring the Hollywood Hammers roster to them so they can find and force these engages. Right now, it just seems like they're kind of reluctant to make things happen in lane. All reflex blocks have been finished. That small window of opportunity that C9 had has been kind of been flushed down the toilet at this point. You don't expect that it's going to be easy for a Koshka to land a Yummy Catnip Frenzy now that everybody has got a reflex block on board, and a Crucible almost finished by play by Afro.
And they're still going to try and make the engage happen nonetheless. I love Joseph jumps in, pops his own reflex block to stop the stun coming out from the Catherine. There's a lot of Glimmer Shot damage and a lot of one-shot, one-kill damage, actually. Cloud9 are actually playing on the back foot now. They just get chunked out so hard by Hammer's composition. So much poke, so much peel as well. That turret will take about half its HP gone already. They're going to jump straight back in. Gabe Vizzle in a lot of trouble. Fountain was popped, same with Crucible. That'll be him backing off rather sharpish there. Now Hammers once more in the driving seat. Are they going to be able to do anything? Attack of the Pack is going to come through. They're going to straight onto Playboy Afro. He's the main target for them. Yummy Catnip Frenzy is going to get blocked. Wait for it comes out as well. Old School is going to send that one flying. Starting all over, still in that backline, just gets jumped on underneath the turret. He actually takes out one with him, does end up trading. Old School picks up one on to Starting all over. They do trade Joseph's life for it, however. Again, Cloud9 always looking for those advantages, take away some of the fronts.
And they all just rotate down again towards Jungle Shop. Tension both finished, like we said. Old School now working towards a breaking point, you imagine, after he's going to have to complete Aegis first, but once Aegis is completed, he can open up the space for that breaking point. And Joseph working towards what's going to be his broken myth now. Again, C9 still haven't taken that first turret of the game, so yet to crack open this game and build some map pressure. But starting all over, he's scaling up nicely, working towards his Tyrant's Monocle. You've got 10 stacks on Playboy Afro now already. Goldmine's going to be the target that's getting focused. Really good play by C9 to put pressure onto that Goldmine and essentially try and force Hammers to respond to it. Good zoning by starting, though.
Well, you say force them onto it. There's the nice silence there. Yummy Catnip Frenzy does get completed tonight. Joseph ends up falling. Fountain wasn't enough. That Oblivion does come out. It is going to get blocked by Old School's reflex block, but it's still going to matter. Archaic's going to finish him off with a Malison Verdict. That's going to be a nice start to Gabe Vizzle as well. Can't really prance and dance away anymore.
Oh, they get an ace.
Those Manifix do come through. An ace comes big for Hammers here. They are going to be able to find not one turret, but two here now.
Oh, there is like a double-edged sword to this Koshka, especially. Well, not even double-edged sword. It's like a single-edged sword, but it becomes a serrated blade. Simply because when you Yummy Catnip Frenzy and it gets reflex blocked onto a weapon power Kestrel, she can slip into active camera instantaneously, then stun up instantaneously as well. That's exactly what happened to Joseph in that last fight. This is why reflex block can shut down Koshka so easily, especially against the likes of the weapon power Kestrel. And that stun onto Joseph spelled his doom, and then C9 had to disengage almost immediately.
And Cloud9. Maybe the fatigue is setting in. That's the big question, maybe. They've been playing a lot today. Maybe they're just not on their full force right now. But we did see this composition come online a little later in the game, and that's probably where it's going to come online yet again, you could imagine. But the poking potential from Hammers is all going to be there. They've got that backup strategy of just sieging as well against Cloud9. It's all looking good for them at the moment, with a 2,000 gold lead now opening up for Hammers.
Goldmine stacking up, C9 trying to push on to this first turret, but Hammers have that major advantage now, it feels. Playboy Afro, he's got his Crucible, got his War Treads, the escape tools, the kiting tools, all there and necessary. You imagine that Echo might be thought of. Well, I don't know what that was about. That was just starting the gold miner for Hammers. It was a one-shot, one kill into nothing. There's a stun come through. Joseph goes in.
Yeah, wait for it. He's going to silence three members, and that's exactly what they were looking for. Archaic falls, starting all over falls. There we go. The kills come through finally for Cloud9. Joseph did end up dying in the fray. However, Ace for C9. There we go. Mid-game hit. Exactly 12 on the dot there, Scoundrel. And Cloud9 made it work.
I'm not really sure how that happened, but it did. I think that was a little bit over-aggressive in terms of positioning for Hammers. Didn't quite respect the damage output that Joseph has on the spike of his Broken Myth. And the fact that Old School's Tension Bow hit onto a target, he can land it, means there's a lot of burst damage here for C9. They also managed to get the Wolves into a really nice position where they were in the sort of the corridor, and they were tanking up those skill shots so nicely. C9 found a prime opportunity to engage, made it happen. They need to work from this, though. They need to keep going with that momentum that they have gained from that situation. Because it's really important they don't let off, because the more time they give to Hammers here, the harder you feel it will be for C9 to find those kinds of fights. Infusions up now for Hammers. Level 10 for starting, level 11 for Archaic. Only a level 9 infusion that's about to run out for Old School. You'll wonder whether Joseph and Old School will now infuse themselves. After seeing the infusions of Hammers, they do not. This could be a big fight for Hammers.
Could be. Old School takes a lot of damage in the initial engagement. That's a yummy Candy Frenzy used on the back line. The attack of the pack is going to get popped as well. Old School's still alive somehow. Poison Ship healing him up nice and proper. Playboy is going to get taken out as well. Old School jumps on him. Sonic zoom forward. And that'll be him biting the dust. Now Cloud9. The composition comes online just like a book. They start off slow. In the mid game, they really start to just hammer home that Hammers. They need to watch their toes.
I mean, that, by all accounts and purposes, that should not have happened. That was a double infused Samuel and Kestrel, triple item Kestrel and Samuel with his Broken Myth sort of, point, his breaking point on that item build, and they lost the fight. I think it's because starting all over took a too offensive line there, and he was basically took a huge amount of damage from Old School and Joseph without trying to slip away, and he was kind of committed to landing those glimmer shots without moving, and that resulted in him taking way too much damage at the start of the fight. And once starting all over goes down, it's quite easy then for C9 to then run at Samuel without fear of a huge amount of damage, because realistically starting all over provides a large amount of the burst damage here for Hammers. So once he's dead, the job becomes almost 10 times easier for C9 to win from there on in.
Want to fight in corridors, it seems. That's where they're winning these fights, at least. We would say Hammers is actually very good at that too, with all the AoE they do have from the Glimmer Shots and the Malice and Verdict, Drifting Darks, etc. Cloud9, they have infused themselves now. Level 12 infusions on both Old School and Joseph. And they are just pushing towards, pushing down this lane. Joseph actually hasn't completed any sign of boots. He's only got tier 1 boots at the moment. Has picked up the Broken Myth to his name as well. So his long extended team fights are doing a fair bit of damage. Hammers, they need to be able to find their way back into this lane as well. Starting all over, trying to find a little something here. Nice stun from Playboy Afro, but I think that's going to be it for the moment.
Looks like Hammers are just rallying round here. The silence is good. The silence is big, but Joseph takes damage.
Oh, he takes damage. He takes one too many turret hits, but Playboy Afro just falls in the meantime, though. That silence was absolutely huge in Cloud9. They find one kill, and once again, they just turn onto this Kraken. And look how quickly it's getting captured as well.
And it's so quickly. It's the triple item spike for Old School now, and obviously Koshka will do some serious work here. They have to be careful, though. The one-shot, one-kill doesn't actually secure it. Neither does the Oblivion. And here goes C9.
Oh, okay, yep, okay, he's going to fall. Dash forward from Old School. Sonic zoom, Sonic win, and he finds that kill in the end. Here comes the Kraken as well, lumbering up that lane. Cloud9, they just might end the game. In the next couple of minutes, you can imagine, these fights have gone all in their favor. The last 2 or 3, at least 100% in their favor, and finding one kill is more than enough for them to just reap the rewards of the map.
Going to start to move forwards here. They are going to get at least 1, maybe even 2 turrets off this push, because Samuel is down, Archaic is down. Old School very aggressive, does get stunned up, but won't be punished for it a huge amount. The Glimmer Shots were not up for starting all over, but it takes a lot of damage right there. Forces the Fountain now. Wow, C9 forced to back off.
Yeah, I was about to say, you say that, and Old School just steps forward again. I don't know what it is about Vox players today, Scoundrel, but every single one wants to play straight up in the enemy front line, no matter who they are playing against. Kraken won't be able to take down that turret, but does a fair bit of damage towards it, though. So that's going to be 1.5 turrets down now for Cloud9. That seems to be the average at the moment. That will be an interesting stat, actually. The amount of Krakens and how many turrets they do end up taking. I reckon 1.5 will be the kind of mean or the average.
Hammers now working towards Tension Bow for starting all over. There's the Null Wave Gauntlet for Playboy Afro. Very easy to land a Null Wave Gauntlet when the enemy runs at you. You don't have to sort of move into position to land it. It's something that you can do yourself pretty easily. And that'll go straight onto Gabe Vizzle, which will be very influential at stopping the Oblivion or also the Blast Tremor. A couple of really big abilities that you want to be able to Crucible as well. Both Oblivion and the Blast Tremor do warrant that kind of play. Here we go.
An attack of the pack. Here comes the silence. Blast Tremor actually silencing 3 members of Cloud9. Joseph still fighting back. This is the fight. This is where it ends, you could say. Joseph getting caught up in that Malice and Verdict. That Drifting Dark actually finishing him off with a basic attack from Playboy Afro. They trade 1-for-1 there. Ultra was way too low to carry on that fight. Starting all over, did exit the fight early as well, so neither team again really getting anything off this apart from Hollywood Hammers just gaining priority over this lane.
Very, very, very close between these two teams right now. And almost like this is a performance of the split or even the last couple of splits here for Hammers, making it this far and being so close to toppling C9. They seem to be right at the very edge of being able to do so. I think Echo and Playboy Afro would make a huge difference to be able to combo that Blast Tremor, and it would make it very difficult for C9 to block those things. Like you know, Gabe Vizzle said, there's almost 1,000 things that you need to block here, including the Oblivion by the Samuel, a double Blast Tremor by Playboy Afro will be very difficult to contend with, as the Crystal Infusion gets picked up by him, meaning he's going to hit slightly harder on a couple of his abilities, including the Storm Shield Reflex, including the Storm Shield damage around him, as well as the Blast Tremor scaling too. C9 are going to start to clear out a little bit of vision where they can. Another Kraken fight will be on the cards. You feel like this might be one of the decisive fights of the game.
Well, that Kraken is on the table for them. It's on the cards. However, that massive silence does come through again from Old School so well and so good at placing those. Oblivion does come through, sleeps absolutely nobody. But look at the health bars just melting for Hollywood Hammers. That's going to be 1-2 kills picked up for them already. And Playboy Afro was just left completely alone in the back line. Starting all over in Arcade, just got ran down by Joseph and Old School. Their mobility coming out from Gabe Vizzle as well was just all too much for them to handle. I think they're just going to set to end the game here. They don't care about the Kraken. They've got the damage, what it takes here. 19, 24, 19 seconds on Archaic. One turret falls. The next one's surely soon to follow. Ace buff minions still pouring into this base. The next one's going to go down. This is going to be very close here, Scandal. I think Cloud9 have done it. They've just taken another week, and they are once again proving that they are the most dominant team in North America.
Old School for me has been absolutely golden on this Vox. Played so well with the team and obviously just dived in, unafraid to take that frontline role with the metal jacket. And it's something that a lot of Vox players don't do. Vox is one of the carries that can be aggressive, that can take these offensive maneuvers. And Old School manages to pilot that so well. C9 deserved champions this week, but Hammers did come very close.
They did indeed, and that'll be another week of the VG8 being finished here.